Hermione sat next to Draco as the sun dipped below the horizon, and she sipped her perfectly prepared cocktail and nibbled on the last of her dinner. It was a perfect summer evening, and Liam could be heard laughing from the lawn. Draco had asked if he could help Liam to bed. Hermione agreed, and once they had left, she filled her glass of wine and wandered the halls. Noticing all the portraits had black coverings on them, she wound through the halls with no actual intent in mind and found herself outside the doors to the room where she had been tormented. Beyond these doors was where her nightmares lived. They haunted her still. With her hand, she felt the skin where the cut had been, now gone after Bellatrix had died. In this room, Draco had turned a blind eye while she writhed in pain and begged for death. When I returned to the manor after the battle, I lit this room on fire. It was actually similar to the blaze in the room of lost things. He startled her by speaking. Even though he was gone, it felt like his evil still lived here. I've never had it rebuilt. Hermione nodded, declining to speak. Have I ever properly apologized? She sighed. I don't think so, but it's unnecessary. She was still staring at the large wooden doors. Well, I know it's probably means piss all, but I am sorry. I should have been better. I promise I've tried to rectify that. It's okay. It's not. No, it's not, but that doesn't change anything, and for what it's worth, I forgive you. So this room sucks, that's obvious, but this room, he began down the hall to another door. I think you and Liam will appreciate it. He pushed the door open, and Hermione stepped in, her breath stolen from her body. It was, bar none, the largest library she had ever seen. It was on a scale of grandeur that she could hardly comprehend. The fabrics covering the chairs and rugs were a deep emerald green, and the wood was deep, rich mahogany. Her fingers trailed the spines of the leather-bound books. There must have been thousands of books. Liam is going to freak out. Draco smiled and walked over to the drink cart, pouring a couple of drinks for them. He sat down in one of the oversized armchairs, and Hermione continued to inspect the beautiful shelves. Did you have a boyfriend? Or do you, I guess? No, I don't. Didn't have much time for dates. Do you? I would have thought that it was obvious, Granger, but I actually prefer the company of witches. He smiled into his glass, and she rolled her eyes. You know what I mean. No one's serious. I'm surprised. I would have thought you and Pansy would end up together. Draco barked out a laugh. Why on earth would you think that? I don't know. I think everyone thought that. No, Pansy and I are still friends, but it was a childhood thing. Again, nothing serious. Have you spoken to Weasley? Oh, Merlin, no. She moved and sat down next to him, but instead of sitting formally like he did, she brought her legs up next to her and hugged them with one arm. She took a long drink. You know, I do think about him, though. I wonder all the time what would have happened if I hadn't caught him with Lavender. Him cheating on me was the best thing that could have happened. In a twisted way, it led me to Liam. Don't say that. Weasley in no way contributed to the birth of my son. He paused briefly, chewing on a thought he wasn't sure he wanted to say. I can't believe you've done it all by yourself these last few years. Yeah, it was difficult at times, but I felt trapped and stifled. I had to get out of here. I was living under a microscope, followed by reporters and constantly in the paper. America was a breath of fresh air. No one knew me. Are you going to miss it? Oh, I don't think so. I think it served its purpose, and even if I was dead set on going back, Liam seems to be quite taken with you. I'm quite taken with him. He's an incredible child. You did a wonderful job raising him so far, and thank you. For what? For, I don't know, hell, making me a father? Sleeping with me all those years ago? Hermione felt a blush crawl over her skin, and she blamed it on the drink. Well, I didn't stand much a chance once I saw you in your briefs, did I? All abs and biceps? Hermione, this is getting dangerously close to flirting again, she warned herself. I was totally flexing, had to make a good impression. He shook with laughter at a long forgotten memory. Merlin, you were so bloody pissed. I didn't think I'd ever see the Golden Princess so drunk. Yes, well, all's well that ends well, no? What's going on with your parents? He abruptly changed topics, and the question stunned Hermione. She didn't expect for him to ask something too so personal. Oh, I don't know. They don't really remember me. Well, they do up until I left for Hogwarts. Everything after that is gone. So when they woke up, they had a grown witch for a daughter, and it hasn't settled in properly. They detest magic and blame it for them losing their daughter, which is ridiculous. If anything, they should be mad at me. Sometimes I think they just tolerate my existence. They treat me like a ghost of their daughter who died or something. I'm sure they love you. They are probably hurting. Draco surprised her by being such a good listener and offering such simple comfort. It's crazy, right? To love someone who hurt you? It's crazier to think someone who hurt you loves you. I always like to think of myself as this person who would do anything for others, who would spare no expense to offer a kindness. I think I need to seriously reevaluate. I mean, I've stolen time from people they won't ever get back. Selfishly, I might add as well, I didn't want to deal with the drama of having you in our lives and figuring out how that would work, so I left. I didn't want anything to happen to my parents, and instead of figuring out an option that kept them whole and safe, I obliviated them. Maybe I'm not such a good person after all. Oh, bullshit, Granger. Stop the pity party. Oh, good. Snarky Draco was back. You're one of the good guys. Always have been, always will be. You made a couple of decisions that had extreme consequences, but you aren't a bad person. You are probably the best person I know. That's why Liam is the way he is. So cut the crap. Hermione smiled. Thanks, Malfoy. Anytime you need me to knock some sense into you, I'll be here. And don't worry about your parents. We'll figure something out. They sat in silence for a while after that. The only noise in the room was the cackle from the fireplace. She felt comfortable here, far more comfortable than she had envisioned. She also needed to amend her previous thought. She at least liked Draco as a person. Anything past that, well, that was still up for debate.